So James 1 verse 2 to 3. I'm going to read it out. So, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And I think this verse is important to say, to even consider it pure joy when you're facing trials. I think you have to be completely 100% reliant on God, because when you're 100% reliant and dependent on God, there is no expectation that you're going to get yourself through these trials, but it's actually Jesus that is going to get you through these trials. And I think we all need to remember that. And then when looking at verse 3, when you continue to put your faith in him and you see that God is continually getting you through these trials, you start to become more confident in your faith in him, and then you become stronger in that. And I think that's something we all need to practice, and it's something we need to remind ourselves every single day. And I think sometimes when we're faced with problems, we're able to say out loud that we trust God, but inside there is a lot of fear in us that, are we going to get through this, or is God actually going to help us? But when we give it all to him and we remember that he will always help us in our situation and that he's already won the victory, then nothing can come near us and nothing can defeat us.
So in the past few weeks we've been learning about the grace of God, and I'm going to share a little bit about how I've understood the grace of God and how it's impacted me in my life. So the main takeaway from that teaching for me was that, although we don't really deserve the grace of God because of our sinful nature, we keep disrespecting God, we keep sinning against him, so we don't really deserve it. But he's given us that for free, and he does that throughout our lives and every single day. So although God has been always good to me, I've started noticing his grace more and more in my life, and even at work, even at home, I've been noticing the magnitude of things he keeps blessing us with, and that's all because of God's love and unfailing grace. So, a bit of testimony. I've experienced his grace so much in the last few years, especially throughout uni. I went to uni for 5 years, so it's quite a long time. And then started my career, so even in my career and my uni, I keep putting this down. I've experienced God's grace. And just an example, in uni, every single year, some exams that I've done, I've thought that I failed them, that I got a really low mark. I've worked really hard, studied day and night. My mom probably knows. Worked really hard, and I thought, okay, I failed that exam. I didn't get a good mark. But whenever that happened, and when I went home on the train, there was this little voice in my head saying, no, don't worry, you've done your best, you've done all you could, so just leave it to God now, and he will sort it out. He'll take care of it. And I think even that little thought, God plants that in your head because of his grace. And so it's more relevant to people doing exams now, because all those years, whenever I got the results, especially those exams that I thought I didn't pass or I did badly, I did better in them than a lot of other exams, and I was really shocked. I got much better marks for them than other ones. So I was like, how did that happen? Because so that was God's grace, because that definitely wasn't me. I don't know what he did. Maybe he changed the person who marks exam, his mind or whatever. But either way, it happened. And that's more relevant for people who are doing exams now. Just, if you don't study or don't do anything, you can't expect God to give you an A star. But if you do your best, work hard and just do what you can. Something I've always had in my mind is, you do your best and God will do the rest. So if you keep that in mind, and he will show you his grace. And one more thing is that we experience his grace every day, but we either don't recognize it, or we take it for granted, or we recognize it later. So I think we should recognize it, we should try to recognize it much more, And like, yeah, the least we can do is thank him, and just know that he's there for us and trust in him. And yeah.
Hi everyone, my name's Thihansaa, and I think all of you know that I'm doing my GCSEs, and they put like the core subjects start tomorrow. So I did my French oral, and normally I didn't revise the most because I revised more on the core subjects, and I was like really scared, and I was really nervous, and I was full of anxiety and stress. And on that Sunday before the Monday exam, Cynthia prayed all of us, and she was praying for favor in our lives. So I went to the test on Monday, and there's a schedule for everyone, and I was in like the middle row, and like I was asking everyone, oh, how was the exam, and they were like, it's really hard, and I think you're gonna fail. And I was like getting all these thoughts, and I was like, wow, the smart people are telling me that it's really hard, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel, so it's a big no for me. And I was like praying with God, like I was fasting throughout the whole week, and I was with him the whole time, and I had like so much trust in him. But I was like, oh my God, what if this happens? What if this happens? So I went to the exam, and like we're given a picture, and we have to describe what it is in French. So you don't know what you get, and everyone was like, they got a Muslim lady in a hijab, and they don't know how to say hijab, they don't know how to say Muslim, so it was really hard. And I was like, oh God, what am I gonna get now? And normally for my mocks, I'm really scared, and I came into the exam hall, and I was like smiling so much, and the teacher was like, are you okay? And I was like, should I say I'm nervous or I'm really happy? But I was like, I felt like God's presence all over the room, and I felt so strong about myself because I knew that he wouldn't give up on me, he wouldn't desert me, and he would never fail me. And I was given a picture, and it was just people smiling. And I was like, wow, like all this favor. And I was just like, is this actually my exam, or is it just like example or something? And Miss was like, no, it's your exam. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so I could say anything about the picture. I could say their hair color, if they're talking, if they're my friend. And I was like, this is my GCSEs. My marks were so hard, and I've given like the easiest question out of everybody. And I said like the quickest answers, and I said so much detail. And I go to my friends, and none of them had that card. So it's like each 30 has the same card, and no one else got the same card as me. But everyone had so hard cards, and everyone was like, how was it? And I was like, oh, it was fine. Like, why was everyone scaring me? And I came out, and I felt God's favor in my life, and his undeserved grace, his unfailing love. So I thank God for that, and yeah.